Hi, it's Danny from Danny's Sports Bar here in Pattaya, looking ahead at the week in the world of sports. And of course, the Super Bowl now is over for another year. The Seattle Seahawks beating the New England Patriots early Monday morning before a full house in 49ers Stadium in Santa Clara, but also a full house here at Danny's Sports Bar for the 8th straight year. For American sports, that means it's kind of a quiet period until we get to March Madness, middle of next month, college basketball tournament. But it's not a quiet period in the world of sports, not at all. The Winter Olympics are going on in Italy, in Milan, and the area around it. And this week, on Wednesday, one of the more interesting events of the Winter Olympics begins, the men's ice hockey tournament. I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now because this is the first time in 12 years that the NHL released players for the Olympics. And that means all the top teams have 20 or more NHL players on their rosters for the Olympics, including Finland, which has 24 NHL players, will be in action in the opening game of the men's hockey tournament Wednesday night, starting at 10:40 p.m. Canada, the favorites in the tournament, they have well more than 20 players in the NHL on their roster. They open play against the Czech Republic, which also has quite a few NHL players. That's on Thursday, also at 10:40 p.m. And that tournament goes through for the next week and a half. And it really, if you like hockey at all, ice hockey, it'll be the tournament of the year, the games of the year to watch, because so many great players playing for their countries. Also going on right now is the Cricket World Cup, the T20 Cricket World Cup. Tonight, USA plays Pakistan, but you wouldn't think is that big a game, except that when the T20 World Cup was in the U.S. a couple of years back, the U.S. actually upset Pakistan, beat Pakistan. I doubt that happens again, but you never know. The bigger game for Pakistan is Sunday night at 8:30 when they will play against their all-time rivals, India. India have pretty much had their way in this series in recent years, but anyone from either of those countries and anyone who loves cricket will be interested in watching India against Pakistan on Sunday. As far as football goes, it's a midweek for the Premier League, but not a weekend. Weekend is the FA Cup. Two big games in the FA Cup on Saturday night will be Aston Villa against Newcastle, Liverpool against Brighton. A lot of other teams obviously in action. We're just in the fourth round of the FA Cup. In the middle of the week, we have the Premier League. And because Man City came from behind to beat Liverpool on Sunday night, it's still just a 6-point gap at the top. And that means every game, as long as it remains fairly close, every game that either Manchester City or Arsenal play all the way through until this title is clinched, or at least until one team goes far enough ahead that we think there's no chance of them losing it, those games will be crucial. Man City is playing on Wednesday night at home against Fulham. Arsenal is the only game on Thursday night away to Brentford. Some of you probably remember that when Brentford first came back to the Premier League 5 years ago now, 4.5 years ago, they beat Arsenal at home in their first ever game. They haven't beaten them since, either home or away, but they've also only lost 2 home games out of 12 so far this season. They're a difficult team to play at Brentford. That's where Arsenal have to go on Thursday night. In Scottish football, interesting week, Hearts, who are the leaders, play their Edinburgh Derby tonight against their neighbours Hibs. Then on Sunday, one of the more anticipated games in Scotland, probably the most anticipated non-Old Firm derby game in quite a few years, will be Hearts against Rangers on Sunday night. The Hearts are leading, Rangers, Celtic, both behind them, both Rangers and Celtic, who always win the title in Scotland. Not since 1984 has any other team won. They still both have a chance to win the title this year. But at the moment, here we are, getting into the middle of February, Hearts are still on top. So Hearts, 2 big games this week, the rivalry game tonight, and then the game against Rangers on Sunday. Also this weekend, and speaking of rivalry games, in the Six Nations, the second weekend of the Six Nations this week, and the Calcutta Cup, it beat 11:40 on Saturday night, England playing against Scotland. England won last season. Before that, Scotland had won 4 in a row. Before that, England had won plenty of games. It's a big rivalry for those teams. The Six Nations is still a great tournament, and that will be going on 2 games on Saturday, 1 game on Sunday. So in the end, we do have plenty of sports going on. We'll have some college basketball from the U.S., maybe some NBA, games. No NHL, obviously, as they've taken a break for the Olympics. But there's plenty going on between the Olympics, the Cricket World Cup, and football and rugby. Come see us here at Danny's.